Hello world. So today we're going to be using the free online version of SketchUp, so a browser-based version of SketchUp, to work through design iterations. I'm going to combine a few um, tools that might be useful in this process. And this is an assignment I give my students at Valencia College. They're going to be using concrete. They're going to be making this out of concrete, but I'm going to have them iterate through this design process digitally in SketchUp. So let's launch into that. So as you can see, this is me. I have my, I don't know what you call that, prehistoric dinosaur t-shirt, if you will, and a mandolin. I don't know why I'd be playing a mandolin, but okay, there you go. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and the parameters for their assignment is to create a stereoatomic mass that is at scale 48 feet by 48 feet by 144 feet. So I'm going to start by drawing the 48 foot by 144 foot dimension. And so, oh, wait a minute. So I'm looking, so I've clicked once and I'm dragging out. And in the dimension box in the lower right-hand corner down here, you can see my cursor, I'm going to type in the values, 48 feet, comma, 144 feet. So that should be at 1/8 inch scale, 6 inches by 18 inches. And so that's what we got. And then I'm going to use the push-pull tool to create a mass. So I'm going to click once and drag up. And I'm taking my hand off the mouse to type in the characters. And again, I want this to be a 6 by 6 by 18 or 48 feet by 48 feet by 144 feet. So and since I'm in real world scale, SketchUp deals with real world scale. So I'm going to type in 48 feet, enter, and then there's my mass, right? So you get an idea of scale. You see me, right? There's happy little me, and then there is the mass that I'm going to ask them to iterate through. So as you've watched in previous lessons probably, you'll note that my very first thing that I encourage people to do in SketchUp is to create this as a component, right? So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to create a component. Make component. You can name it whatever you want, component number 1, option 1, whatever, but I leave everything else by default and hit OK. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this one over X amount. So I know if it's 144 feet, I maybe copy over 200 feet. So I use the move tool, right? And then I hit the control symbol, control key on your keyboard, and that creates a little plus symbol on the screen. That means you're copying it, not just moving it, right? So I'm moving it over, and I'm going to type in a value of 200 feet. So 200 apostrophe, that's how you get the foot symbol, enter. And then now I have 2 of the same thing. What do I mean by the same thing? Let me show you. So part of their design process is to create a stereoatomic mass, and the mass is encouraged to be sculpted and to create and to house these shelters. That's the end game, is to house shelters. So I'm going to start sculpting this mass, and I'm going to do it by drawing just some kind of geometry on the surface. Now notice it when I drew on that surface, it also drew in this one. That's because a component is intended to be replicable, maybe that's how you say it, replicable. And so that's why they're going to look very similar. So to further that point, I'm going to push-pull this piece and notice the exact same thing is happening on that side, right? Now, if I didn't want that to happen, what I should have done is right-clicked on the copy, and you'll see a choice to say Make Unique, right? But this is where I think the power of the tool is such that, an iteration, and let's look up that word real quick. Iteration. An iteration is the repetition of a process or utterance. So repetition, blah, 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 blah. Or a new version of a piece of computer hardware or software. I don't like really either of those. So maybe let's put in this word design iteration and see what we get. Let's see. So an iterative design is a design methodology based on a cyclical process of prototyping, testing, analyzing, and refining a product or process. That's the definition I like, right? So we're going to design something, in this case, this one. We're going to test it to make sure it does the things we want to do. And if it doesn't do everything we want it to do, then we're going to make another one and we're going to evolve it, right? So that's why I think your first version should be a copy. But at some point, let's say I made one gesture, right? One change. I made this change. In this change, I'm going to make unique, right? So I'm going to go back and manipulate this guy again one more time. Oh, I'm getting the circle of death. Hold on. Hold our breath. If we hold our breath, something won't happen. Oh no. Okay, here we go. So now notice that if I make a change to this one, which I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to make it on this surface because I think that could be interesting, right? And I'm going to pull it this way and maybe out that way. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do it the other way, that way. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we're starting to cook with gas. So this is one idea, right? It's not fully vetted. I've only made 2 moves. It's not a big deal. But notice it didn't happen in the copy, right? So now this one is unadulterated by the second edit, and this can be a pure evolution. So instead of doing what I just did, I'm going to change this one in this way. And I'm going to extrude it or remove that material all the way back, and then add another rectangle. And I'm just what do they call this? Oh, there's a jazz term for this. Improv isn't the right term, but let's just call it riffing. Yeah, there we go. That's the term I was looking for. I'm just riffing. I'm taking ideas and I'm running with them, right? So let's say, so you can see how this design is an evolution of that design. So this is an iteration of that. It's an iterative design process. So once I have this guy, and then I'm going to copy this one over another 200 feet. And this time I'm going to make it unique from the beginning. And then I'm going to start to manipulate this one a little bit further. So I kind of want this thing to push down to maybe super thin, pull that in a little bit. Yeah, I think that's it for that surface. And then I'm going to draw a rectangle here. I'm going to push that in using the push-pull tool. Golly, there we go. Okay, now we are absolutely cooking with gas. Look at that. So every surface has been manipulated, right? So this plane, that plane, that plane, the bottom plane, the top plane, that plane, every surface has been manipulated. I think we're really starting to get somewhere, right? So you can see how the design has evolved. It started out as being this, then it became that, then it became that. Now we're going to make one more. And, there's no right answer. There's no limit to the number of you can make. It's just whatever feels right based on what you think your intention will be relative to the final design, right? So this plane has given me some trouble. I'm not in love with what's happening right here. So I'm gonna do a couple things. I'm gonna push this in just a bit, maybe push that down, and oh yeah, I like that. I don't know if I want those things to align necessarily. See, there's like that uncomfortable little nubbin of stuff right there. I'm going to pull that out just a little bit more, make that a little beefier. But then I kind of want something to happen in that corner. So maybe I just do one more little thing here, just a little notch. Yeah, I like that. And that I do want to line up. So I do that by using the push-pull tool, and then I drag down, and I can make it parallel or adjacent, not adjacent, but parallel to a different plane just by clicking those edges. You see how that's happening? Yeah, so there we go. All right, so in that very, very quick example, I showed you what it was like to iterate through, oh wait, look what I didn't do. Oh no, I didn't make it unique. So I have to undo all those changes I just made. I think that's where we were. Right click, make unique. Now let's change all that crap again because I wasn't paying attention. See? Anyway, sorry about that. So I'm going to push in. And I won't necessarily replicate exactly what I just had, but I'll do something similar because I actually liked what was going on. Push pull. Oh, I actually like that a little bit better now. All right, good. All right, so now what you can see is the iterative process done digitally. And so this is a stereoatomic mass. Essentially, as I'm defining that, and have, I think most lower level students, architecture students, define that as is a massive object that is carved and reduced to make a sculptural element, right? So it's a deductive process. You're removing material to make a finished element. And so in this case, I started with this element or this body, this mass. I changed it slightly, but it's still somewhat similar. I changed it again, yeah, again similar but different, and then changed it to what I think is going to be my final solution. And then that, as they say, is that. Thanks for watching. I hope you found value in this tutorial. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you like it, share it with others, and subscribe to my channel below. Also, if you'd like to see other tutorials similar to this one on this topic, please select from the list to the right. Have a great day.